Marsau.
Slow.
Yo.
What up, though?
You're very snippy.
You know, you had to bring it out.
Okay. Oh, okay. Chocolate in a bottle.
Of course.
I like my chocolate and other things.
Well, Carlos, listen. That sounds like none of my business. That sounds like my business ended before that comment right there. At this point right now, Carlos, I know you don't drink, but let me slide.
I don't drink. I do slurp.
Picture this. You wake up, grab your phone, start scrolling, and suddenly you see a headline that sounds like it came straight out of a crime drama. Carlos King sent the FBI straight to Marsau Scott's door. Wait, what? The same Carlos King who has spent years producing some of the messiest moments in reality television is now being linked to federal investigators? That sounds unbelievable. But here's the twist. There is a real story underneath the headline, and it involves Marsau's recent arrest, Carlos speaking publicly about it, and a whole lot of questions that fans still want answered. What we can actually verify is that Marsau Scott was arrested in Huntsville on June 28, 2026 on third-degree simple assault and harassment charges, along with an alias writ arrest. He was released shortly afterward. But there is no verified evidence that Carlos King personally sent the FBI to Marsau's home. And that distinction matters, because once reality television gets mixed with real police records, real accusations, and real families, the drama stops being something viewers can simply laugh off. And Carlos made things even more interesting when he addressed Marsau's situation while filming the current season. So what exactly did he know? Why did he speak up? And why are fans connecting his name to this explosive situation?
Carlos, what the hell? Can we get a pause? Can we just get a timeout at this point? Can we get a timeout?
You break out the worst in me.
Well, I shouldn't do that. I gotta let my light shine as a Christian man. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm so happy that I get to do this with you. So tonight, we're gonna watch the mid-season finale to get ready for our mid-season premiere that's happening next week.
Okay.
So this is the girls' trip.
Oh, wow, fun. Yeah. Do you mind if I get a slight glass first?
Pop the bubbly.
Carlos, let me ask a question. I'm not trying to.
Go ahead.
Do you go on girls' trips? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
no one ever asked me that question. I have never been on a girls' trip, no.
To understand why this story has gotten so much attention, you have to understand who Marsau Scott is and why his life has been under a microscope for years. Marsau became known to reality television audiences through Love and Marriage Huntsville, where viewers watched him alongside his wife, Letitia Scott, while also following his complicated relationships with his brothers Maurice and Martel and the wider group of friends and business partners surrounding them. The show was never simply about couples sitting around talking about their feelings. It was about business, marriage, family, loyalty, money, old wounds, and the kind of disagreements that refuse to stay private. That is what made Marsau such a fascinating figure on the show. He often came across as confident, direct, and unwilling to back down. But that same personality could also put him directly in the center of conflict. Over the years, viewers watched him argue with family members, defend himself against accusations, clash with other cast members, and deal with questions surrounding his marriage and business relationships. And then there was Carlos King.
Okay. I'm trying to ask this in a sensitive way.
No, you can ask me anything. Okay.
Do gays go on trips? Like gay trips?
The gay boys, we do go on a boys trip, yes.
But that's kind of not fair though.
Why not?
Because the girls trip is like for the girls that are not sleeping with the girls.
But on the gay boys trip, we're not sleeping with each other.
Oh, okay. So it's like gay boyfriend trip. Like friend.
Yes, we're friends.
Friends trip.
Yeah.
But why don't you say friend trip? Why don't you make it a gay thing?
You made it. You was at me.
Goodness.
Carlos wasn't just another person connected to the show. He became one of the most recognizable producers associated with the Love and Marriage franchise. His role behind the scenes gave him a unique position because he understood how these stories developed before viewers ever saw them on television. That meant fans naturally began wondering what Carlos knew before they did. If something happened to Marsau, would Carlos already know? If something happened off camera, would production eventually hear about it? And if a cast member found themselves facing a serious situation, would Carlos be able to say more than the audience? Those questions became especially important in 2026. Season 11 of Love and Marriage Huntsville was already packed with tension. The official episode descriptions show Marsau dealing with conflict involving his family, his brother Maurice, Tisha, and other members of the cast. One episode even centers on tensions between the Scott brothers, while later episodes deal with difficult conversations between Marsau and Tisha. So the atmosphere around Marsau was already complicated before the arrest became public. Then everything changed. On June 28th, Marsau was arrested in Huntsville. According to jail records reported by multiple outlets, he was booked on third-degree simple assault and harassment charges. There was also an alias writ arrest listed in the records. He was released from custody that same morning, and immediately the internet did what the internet always does. It started asking questions. Who was involved? What happened? Where did it happen? Why was Marsau arrested? Was Tisha involved? Was this connected to something viewers had already seen on the show? And then Carlos King entered the conversation. Now, this is where the story gets very interesting, because Carlos reportedly addressed Marsau's arrest on his YouTube channel and made one point very clear. The harassment charge was not about his wife, Tisha. Carlos said he could not say much because the current season was still being filmed, but he specifically wanted to make sure viewers were not assuming the charge involved problems between Marsau and Tisha. Think about that for a second. Carlos knew people were going to make assumptions. He knew the word harassment would immediately send fans into speculation mode. And instead of giving viewers the entire story, he gave them just enough information to stop one particular rumor. That is exactly the kind of statement that makes reality TV audiences lean closer to the screen. Because when someone says, "I can't say much," the first question everyone has is obvious.
What can't you say? What do you know? What are you waiting for? And that is where the FBI rumor starts becoming so dramatic. There is currently no verified evidence that Carlos King called the FBI, contacted federal investigators, or personally sent agents to Marsau Scott's home. That claim should not be treated as established fact. But the fact that Marsau really was arrested, and the fact that Carlos really did publicly address the situation, created the perfect environment for speculation to explode. One real event became surrounded by dozens of theories, and once fans started talking, the story became bigger than the original arrest. Some viewers began wondering whether Carlos had known about the situation before the public did. Others questioned whether something happened during filming that could eventually become part of the show. And some simply wanted to know why Carlos seemed to have information that he couldn't fully explain. But here's where everything gets even more complicated. Reality television depends on timing. Something can happen months before viewers see it. Something can happen during filming and remain secret until a reunion. A cast member can be dealing with a major personal issue while cameras are still rolling, and audiences might not learn the full story until much later. That is especially true with Love and Marriage Huntsville. The show's season 11 episodes were still revealing conflicts involving Marsau, Maurice, Martel, Tisha, and other cast members throughout the spring of 2026. So when a real-world arrest happened, fans naturally wondered how it would affect the show. Would cameras capture the fallout? Would Marsau discuss it? Would Tisha explain what she knew? Would Carlos ask the questions viewers were already asking? And perhaps most importantly, would the reunion finally reveal something that had been kept quiet? That question became even more interesting because the season 11 reunion had already placed Marsau in a tense environment. The second reunion episode included Maurice and Marsau confronting Martel over cheating allegations, while Maurice also addressed DUI rumors. Marsau and Tisha were given a heart-to-heart conversation as well, so the Scott family was already dealing with public pressure. Now add a new arrest into the mix. Suddenly, every old disagreement gets viewed differently. Every argument gets replayed. Every strange moment gets analyzed. Every silence becomes suspicious. And that is how reality TV drama grows. Not necessarily because somebody has a secret. Sometimes it grows because the audience knows there is something they don't know yet. Marsau's situation also became more complicated because this was not his first encounter with the legal system. Reports have noted that he was previously arrested in March 2025 in connection with an alias warrant related to an aggressive speeding ticket. That earlier incident was different from the 2026 charges, but once another arrest became public, fans immediately started connecting the dots. And this is where viewers have to be careful. A previous arrest does not automatically prove anything about a new allegation. An arrest is not a conviction, and speculation about someone's private life should not be presented as established truth. But that does not mean the public reaction isn't real. For Marsau, the consequences of public scrutiny can be enormous. He isn't just dealing with a police record appearing online. He's dealing with a television audience that has watched his marriage, his family, his business relationships, and his arguments for years. People don't see him as a stranger. They feel like they know him, and that can make public controversy even more intense because viewers begin filling in the blanks using everything they remember. That's exactly what happened here. Fans started revisiting old storylines involving Marsau and Tisha. They remembered the rumors that had surrounded their marriage. They remembered arguments between Marsau and his brothers. They remembered business conflicts. They remembered the way Marsau handled confrontation. And suddenly, the latest arrest became another chapter in a much larger story. But Tisha has her own reality to deal with. Imagine being married to someone whose personal struggles are being discussed by strangers across social media. Imagine opening your phone and seeing people asking whether you were involved. Imagine watching people speculate about your marriage when you may not even be able to respond because production is still filming. That is a different kind of pressure. And Carlos's statement specifically addressing Tisha made that pressure even more obvious. He could have said nothing. Instead, he chose to clarify one thing. Tisha was not the person fans should associate with the harassment charge, according to his comments. That statement may have been intended to protect Tisha from an unfair assumption, but ironically, it also created another question. If Carlos knew enough to clarify what the charge was not about, how much did he know about what actually happened? And that is where fans get stuck, because Carlos was careful. He didn't tell the audience everything. He didn't identify every detail. He didn't reveal the entire situation. He essentially said there was more he could not discuss because filming was underway. And for reality TV fans, that is almost irresistible. The less information they receive, the more they want to investigate. Social media turns into a courtroom. YouTube becomes a newsroom. Comment sections become detective agencies. And suddenly, people are looking at old clips, old interviews, old arguments, and old posts as if they contain clues to a mystery that may not even exist. That's the danger of this kind of story. A real arrest can quickly become surrounded by fictional details. A real statement can be exaggerated. A rumor can become a headline. And eventually, people can forget where the original facts ended and the speculation began.
That is why the FBI claim needs to be handled carefully. As dramatic as the headline sounds, there is no verified reporting establishing that Carlos King sent the FBI to Marsau Scott's door. What we do know is that Marsau was arrested on June 28, 2026, that the charges included third-degree simple assault and harassment, and that he was released shortly after being booked. We also know Carlos publicly addressed the situation and specifically clarified that the harassment charge was not about Tisha. Those facts are already dramatic enough. They don't need an invented federal investigation to make the story interesting, because the real question may not be whether Carlos called the FBI. The real question may be what happens when a reality TV storyline collides with real-life legal trouble while cameras are still rolling. That is much bigger. For years, reality television has blurred the line between private life and public entertainment. Cast members sign contracts, they film their homes, they film arguments, they discuss relationships, they reveal secrets, and viewers become emotionally invested. But police matters are different. A court case is not an episode. An arrest is not a storyline. A family crisis is not simply content. There are real consequences attached to all of it. And Marsau now has to deal with those consequences while still being part of a television world that thrives on conflict. That is a difficult position. One day you're filming a reality show. The next day you're reading headlines about yourself. Then millions of strangers are debating your situation online. And somewhere in the middle of all that is your wife, your family, your children, your business, and your reputation. That's why this story feels heavier than a normal reality TV argument. There is an emotional cost that viewers don't always see. Tisha has to navigate the public reaction. Marsau has to navigate the legal process. His brothers have their own relationships with him. And Carlos has to balance what he can say publicly with what production may still be documenting. Nobody gets to simply press pause. And that may be the most uncomfortable part. Because while fans are waiting for the next episode, these people are living the consequences in real time. Think about Marsau's position. Whatever happened on that June morning, his name was suddenly attached to a police record. News outlets were reporting the arrest. Social media was discussing it. Fans were questioning it, and his own television producer was publicly acknowledging the situation. That can change how audiences view everything, but it can also change how a person sees the world around them. Friends become potential commentators, private conversations can become public stories, and every future disagreement can be interpreted through the lens of what happened. That is the emotional impact of living publicly. You don't get to have a bad day without somebody turning it into a theory. You don't get to make a mistake without someone connecting it to 5 years of television history. And you definitely don't get to remain mysterious without people deciding that your silence means something. Still, Marsau's story is not finished. In fact, this may only be the beginning of another complicated chapter, because Love and Marriage Huntsville continues to put the Scott family under a microscope. Season 11 already explored tensions between the Scott brothers, questions involving Tisha and Marsau, and conflicts that spilled into business and family relationships. Now, viewers have another major real-world event to consider. Will Marsau address the arrest directly? Will Tisha speak about how it affected their family? Will Carlos reveal more when the time is right? Will future episodes show the fallout? And will the audience finally learn what happened beyond the limited information available publicly? Those are the questions that matter, not whether an unverified rumor can be turned into a bigger headline, because sometimes the truth is more compelling than the rumor. Carlos King didn't need to send the FBI anywhere for this situation to become major television news. The arrest happened, the producer spoke, the audience reacted, and suddenly everyone was waiting for the next chapter. That tells you everything about the power of reality TV. A single event can pull an entire cast back into the spotlight. One arrest can revive old arguments. One statement can trigger thousands of questions. And one sentence from a producer can keep fans talking for days. But there is another side to all of this that deserves attention. Behind every headline is a human being. Behind every trending topic is a family. And behind every reality TV character is someone who still has to wake up the next morning and live with whatever happened.